Welcome to Living the Dream Iowa Life. I'm your host, Hannah Nuss, and each weekday we'll share enthusiasm for what's possible and dive into the stories of Iowans living their dream lives right here in the heartland. Whether you're chasing a big goal or just looking for a little inspiration, we've got you covered. Let's change the world together. This is Living the Dream Iowa Life. Let's go. Heyo, welcome to Living the Dream Iowa Life podcast. I'm your host, Hannah Banana. That's not my real name. I want to start the show on this note because it is Friday. If you're following this in real time, welcome. And so much of my life was spent on Fridays. I don't know why. There was never music playing in my house, but I always had a radio. Like, I gotta have some music. Let's go. And on Fridays on Z102.9, I believe that was the radio station, they would always play this song. And so I'm going to kind of ground us in this song today because this is such a great start to the day, and I would play it for you, but now that we're casting on YouTube, there are copyright issues when we're playing songs. So if I sing it for you, then feel free to go ahead and look this up on your music player and play it for yourself today, because it will definitely get you in that spot. And if it doesn't, it may just not have that deep, deep tie that it does for me. But if you're from a similar background and this song played for you, it'll take you right back to being in middle school, getting your hair ready on a Friday, knowing that it is the weekend, y'all. Okay. I don't want to work. I want to bang on my drums all day. I don't want to work. I want to bang on my drums all day. I don't know any more of the lyrics, but I was listening to it and it is a jam. It is called I Want to Bang on My Drums All Day, I think is the official. Even if you just search that, you will probably find it, but it's like Bum, 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 bum. Anyways, this was the Friday morning theme song, and I am here for it. Yes, please. And this actually leads us right into what we're going to discuss today. So today, the connection question is, it's going to kind of root us to reality here. What are we working on? We have risen. We have risen indeed. We've gotten ourselves all the way to Friday, which means we are in our truth space. And I think that almost makes perfect sense with how our weeks roll, right? Like grinding, kind of finding ourselves. Then we're kind of in this expansive state. And then by the end of the week, it's like, oh, I'm almost there. I'm almost to my truth. My truth is how I spend my weekends. My truth is where I find my peace. Like, that is my truth. And it's so funny that we sort of hold that up here as if we're not supposed to experience that all week long. I have thoughts. But today, my thoughts are, what is a truth that you're running from? Oof. I'm like, every time that I have a connection question, generally it's something that I want to run all the way from. So I don't want to answer this question. I definitely don't want to answer this question live. No, thank you. I don't want to think through this. I really don't want to admit to all of you that there are truths that I'm struggling with right now. But here we are. And I've been reading a lot about the chakras because obviously that's where we're going. That is the basis of essentially everything that I have come to know as the essential parts of the human experience. And we can there's no proof, there's no way. I think between everything that I'm reading as far as psychology and our scientific understanding of the body, this is the common truth. It is spoken in different languages, similar to religion. There is one common core element, and we just name them differently depending on what you are willing to believe. So we are in chakra land, y'all, because I believe, as I have it read to this point, that this is the central power system to how we exist. And so I've been reading a lot about root and heart, and root and heart seem to be where I'm at. And I think this is it. I think that I have to reopen my heart chakra. There is definitely a block there. And in order to reopen that, I need to understand hate that has been put on me. And in order to understand that, right, we have to get to the root. We have to get to where that may be stemming from. And this can happen in a lot of different ways. Some people say that we have to go to the source. We have to have the conversation. We have to sort of heal that way. I think if we can kind of energetically tap into that person and really get to that understanding, we can get there. So a truth that your friend Hannah has been avoiding is that I really want to run. I really want to run. I want to run so very badly. I've been given outs to run back into my old life. It sounds amazing. My husband unquestionably would love to be back in that old life. We could have nice cars. We could have nice homes. We could be that family. We wouldn't have to really budget and think things out and be strategic and make sacrifices. We wouldn't have to do that. We could just kind of let our soul and selves be wherever they want to be. We could be in our amoeba phase. We could be back there, or we're just kind of like responding to what life gives us. And that sounds great, except for I remember outside of the nice things, there was still so much drama and strife and anger and resentment and scarcity, and there was not a whole lot of peace, if any at all. There just wasn't. And so every part of me just wants to go back to that, because the things, right? These physical things, manifestations, these lies that we tell ourselves and we tell other people, we can do that so quickly and so easily. I mean, we are 2 credit applications away from telling our best lie yet. Come on, let's go. And so the truth that I'm running from is, I want to go back to that. That was so much easier. Do we keep forging? Do we go back? What do we do? Where are we going? Oh no. Oh no! Stop. Oh, I could just say stop. I don't believe in all the things. Okay. So we could run or we could stay. And staying means I am figuring this thing out. I'm figuring out how to grow and sustain this. I am figuring out how to be here. And one of the things I learned today, and this has been something that we've been encroaching on, to stay and find a state of acceptance of the limitations. And I think that's what I've been running from most. That we can't just be our free amoeba selves. We can't just free flow and I'm friends with everybody and I'm do, and I have no boundaries, and whenever you want to stop by and wherever you want to make that happen, like, yep, I'll do that. I can do that. I could also do that. Sure, I can do that. I can figure that out. Right? And this understanding, this rootedness, this truth that I want to run so badly from, please let me run, please please? Can I just run away? Do I have to deeply understand where we're going? And even with this show, do I have to have a very specific narrative around what we're creating? Well, for the last 6 years, I think my creativity needed to guide me here. It was really important for me to experiment and flow and understand how to free flow in this work, and to have been this very amoebic thing where I could just freely create. And now I have felt this very direct call to, like, rein it in. Set the limitation, set the boundary. Set the boundary. This is what I do, and this is how I do it. And how beautiful to be able to say that. This is what I do, and this is how I do it. And no, I cannot help you with that. And no, you are not free to contact me during these hours. And no, I do not have to respond to you, even though your free will says you can contact me whenever you want. I will respond whenever I want, and not even whenever I want. What are my exact boundaries? And during my session, during my retreat, we talked about that, like that Hannah was, still kind of is, like, it's scary to set the limitation and to just let people be okay with you being this thing, with you showing up in this way and not having any kind of qualms about that, like just letting it be. And so I don't know, setting that limit seemed very scary to me. I never wanted to do that. The freedom that I thought I was getting by not setting that was the exact opposite. And that, I think, is the releasing of this heart space, is truly understanding where the hate is coming from, the exact root of the hate. And I think it does all revolve around freedom. Like, who is she to be so free? How dare her? We can't just do what we want, create what we want. We could never do that. You would never have enough power and intelligence at your age to do that, to bank on yourself and to roll with it. Not a chance. You can't do that. And I'm beginning to understand what the true root is, and even the root of my own wanting to runnedness. And the fact that it's related to the root makes perfect sense, because rooting high is staying in the depths of this work, and true to my being, the existence of who Hannah is, like her core, her soul, her truth is, I want to stay. Even in the hard stuff. I do. Now, surface level, I'm like, nope, please run. I don't want to do it. I don't want to know the bad stuff. Please don't tell me. I'm going to skip through the bad part of the movie. I do not want to experience that again. I know that it's coming, and I don't want to. I don't want to experience it. But I do want to have a full existence with people worth my energy. Like, I do want to be there for the hard stuff, for the right people. I do. I absolutely do. I want to be there to counsel, to cuddle, to console. I want to be a part of that journey too. And I think when you're just being wide open, right, your yellow streamer self, I think when we're just letting anyone in at any time, it's really hard to think about having that space for everyone. Because some people are only wanting to take up that space. They only want to be in that energy of not enoughness, of drama, of issues. And okay, Hannah, I only want to be in that energy? Really? I don't want to be here. I don't want to experience bad things. I don't know. Right? Do we continue rising? And is this a part of something that you have to learn your way through? Like, this is a part of your story. No, we don't want bad things to happen, but we can't sit here and say bad things always happen to me. Poor me, woe is me. I'm can't do anything. And yeah, a part of that, it does feel like you can't. But the other part is the truth. And the other part is there's something to do anywhere that we wind up. Should we choose? And I don't know. I guess to stay is a very scary thing for me. But I do remember in adulthood, my initial adulthood, that was one of the conversations that I had with myself. You have to get somewhere and stay there. And I thought that was going to be my corporate job. And I was perfectly fine with that corporate job being what it was. And I wanted to do that. And I wanted to do that for 60 years and be the person who like had the biggest retirement cake because they had stayed the longest. I was all in. Yep. I want to stay. I want to root. I want to find a home. I want this to be my place. And then eventually I just realized like, this is not my home. This is not my family. And because I am saying that it is that, that means my home and family are something else. If this is my family. You're like, no, I work and it is my extended family. Okay, yeah, I think we make those relationships, but work should not be where we're at peace. And for me, work was where I was at peace. So work really was my home, my truth. Right? And eventually I would feel called to not exist in these specific windows, not to just be work, home, like I wanted. And it's so interesting as I'm talking this through live because it all seems very conflicting right now, even as I'm thinking about it. Okay, so when I left my job, which is what the book that I am writing right now is about, when I left that job, I wanted to stop kind of existing everywhere and nowhere. Oh, that's the ticket. I was just everywhere. When I talk about like my soul kind of being this amoeba instead of being this force of light that is held somewhere, that is in its power stance, in its power pose. Hey, I am powerful and I am here to help you. It was just kind of everywhere, kind of free flowing into whatever energy. And so when I left, I was really looking for this opportunity to be in everything that I was doing, but really be there. Stop letting it all kind of boil over the sides and be everywhere but nowhere, always kind of on to the next thing, always working towards whatever was coming after this, never taking up space with exactly where I was. Always a step forward or 10 steps backwards, never in the present moment. And I think everything that I have created now since then really allowed me to experience that presence, allowed me to put myself back in my story, back in my narrative. And so I think there is a masculine response to this hate. And I do believe that there is a feminine response to the hate that I'm feeling that needs to be released, not even from them, from myself. So I need to understand the root of this hate. I think from the feminine energy, the hate really exists with the coming into power and truth. Like, you can just be all of these things, not having to kind of remove or split that power up because someone is trying to pull from it. Like being so stable in who you are and who you are doing life with that there is no subtraction. There is only, to this tattoo that my husband and I both have, we are only adding to each other's lives. When we start subtracting, we have a problem. So work to add. And so I'm in this relationship that's really powerful, and we are adding. We are adding, and I add to our family in really beautiful feminine ways, and we understand that balance, and there isn't a misbalance of masculine and feminine. We just are. And so I think the feminine hate really comes from this place of knowing myself, being strong and rooted in a relationship, and having that, and not having to split energy, not having to sort of share in my power, not having to even like shrink down my power and my self, being able to stand and live in my own truth. And I think from some of the feminine issues with where I'm at right now really have to all revolve around like being able to live in your truth, not running the second that something got hard. And maybe not even because that was what they felt called to do. Maybe because they're attached to someone who runs. And again, that is that subtract type energy in a relationship that, like, if this is not your truth, but it is their truth, that's okay. But if you have to go along with their truth over your own, and you've never been able to stand in your truth, then I think that's where a lot of the root of the hate is coming from. And then on the masculine side, I think it's hate of the freedom, the masculine call to work hard and grind and hustle, that like when we are in our true beings, that's not a truth. Like, yeah, we're working hard, but everything just flows. Everything is so energetically cleansed and beautiful and sort of free flowing. And I do think that maybe is just from a masculine to feminine, the femininity, the power of feminine existence and the ease of it as well, and the beauty of it. And I think there's a lot of hate and resentment when someone, a female very specifically, is standing in their power, in their truth, with an open, beautiful heart, in their truest existence. And what? No. Die, woman. No. Because we're so intuitive, so in track, so aligned, so beautiful. that it's really easy to resent that, right? And especially if you're a man who's had to work hard for everything that you've done, and we got to fight and grind and repeat and blah, 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 blah. And none of that is untrue. Like everything that I do really is in discipline and repetition, and it is hard work, but at the same time, it's hard work versus heart work, where like I don't get tired. And, I think the frustration is eventually they understand that that wears out, and that this excitement and this like root energy of seeing red and going after something, it fades. It dies out. And so we know that this isn't an eternal thing. This isn't something that we can even root to. This is just something that we are overexcited about right now. And this like feminine energy of knowing this is where I'm supposed to be. This is what I'm supposed to be doing. Whatever is supposed to happen will, and we will find a way, and magic will be released. And being in that energy is a really powerful place to be. But obviously, it's opposing to someone who just wants the energy and excitement of the work, of the drive, of the drama, of the craziness, and isn't willing to release that out of fear that that is who they have been, and that makes them a bad person, a lazy person, a disgusting person, a woo-woo person, which is probably someone who only knows themselves as that is their root. Someone listening to this is probably going, this lady, she is so woo-woo, this is not even real. And I am telling you, as someone who was very much in that energy, literally, I have a shirt, hustle, grind, repeat, that I would proudly wear. I wore it on, I think, my 30th birthday, friends. I'm like, this is my truth. This is who I am. I am this. And I don't want to be that. I am so grateful that I have that tie, that I had that experience. I am so grateful that I have roots like that, that allowed me to work, that allow me to work now. I do work very hard. But I am not owned by that. That is not one of my core truths. And so many of the places that I have experienced resentment or hate, that I am probably experiencing myself, struggling a little bit to own this truth of ease, right? Like, okay, yeah, they're projecting that on me, but also I must be projecting that to attract that energy, to not be able to release it. And so, I think of just a lot of people who have come along to teach me this lesson over and over and over again. And they have all had different outfits on. They have all had different names and realities, but the lesson has always been the same. There is a core here. And I do think that it is tragically beautiful that all of this coincides. This like final closing of this chapter coincides with the final closing of this book, of the heart chakra, of loving. And, I think in order to love, we must understand the hate. We must understand the things that we are still holding on to of ourselves, the root of those, to understand how to release ourselves from that. And the truth is, I want to run from this next level of work. And I don't even know that it's work. I think this next level of release, because it means we're staying. And this is what we're doing. And true to who I am at my core, I want to be there through the hard things. And so much of what I've been doing over the last 3 years, for sure, has been running when things get tough. And that's who I am, friends. I want to book another flight. Like, no, thank you. Goodbye, hard things. But I also really love getting in depth with people with experiences, and I don't enjoy the superficial. And so there really is no way to experience the light without also coming to terms with the dark and balancing both of those things. So, I may be wanting to run, but I think this next level, we will get there through love and acceptance of who we've been and the releasing of truths that no longer exist. And then loving myself in this new state, even though it's hard to accept, hard to understand at times. As always, you're smart, you're strong, you're beautiful. What are you going to do? Change the world.